And I'd like to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Want to welcome everybody. Do we have a lot of people online?
Not yet.
Okay. Are we running? Is everybody's clocks on time? Okay. 6:04. I'm glad we're here all together. I want to do a little round table introduction. My name is Stan Monjuk. I'm a retired electrical engineer, live in Gerrish Township. I've been married for 50 years and so just happy to be here and part of this organization. We're going to do some good stuff. I feel it.
Hi, everybody. I'm Dr. June Tyson. I taught for 27 years science. My background is a bachelor's in biological science, master's in science education, and a PhD in educational leadership. After I closed the classroom door, I worked with NOAA, National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, for 3 years in Washington, D.C. And I have a micro cottage here on Shady Point Drive as of 2020, and I have a lifelong passion for environmental action, ecological preservation, etc. Husband and son come up with me, and we just love Higgins Lake and want it to be healthy. Thank you.
Well, my name is Pat Howe, current resident here at Higgins Lake, recent retiree from the health field. Just full-timers and interested in seeing what we need to be proactive at doing.
I'm Jack Bigger. My folks moved to Higgs Lake 1948, so I've been here a while. Grew up across the lake from here, right on the lake. I taught school for 32 years. At the same time, I was a fireman here. I was fire chief 3 times, and I was police chief for 38 years. I retired in 06. And I was married for 62 years, but my wife has passed.
Congratulations. Okay, and we're missing Jolie Bozer, and I don't know where she is, and I'll have a good talking to her when she gets here. What I'd like to do next is we have a couple of things from Sue Olderberg. And one of them is a beautiful logo that we have. And I think we need to vote for approval of our logo.
Also move.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
It's very nice, by the way. Yeah, it's really nice.
Next on the agenda is for immediate release is the how do you call this, Sue? This is a news release,
Press release.
a press release regarding our initiative. And I also move to approve the press release. A motion. Made a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Well written. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah. Go for it. Okay, so Sue, I hope you're happy. You know, I am. Next up on our agenda, I want to discuss the subcommittee meetings and the reports that I have. But not only are we going to be reviewing the reports in the future, well, we are today, but going forward, we need to take a look at the Microsoft project that Jim put together and see where our subcommittees are in relation to the project. And if we need to update the Microsoft project, I'll ask Jim to do that somehow. Also going forward with each subcommittee, we should address any potential risks that are facing the subcommittee, such as budgeting or any scientific research or things of that nature in each of the subcommittees. Also want to talk about conflicts, if any conflicts are coming that you see, and what can you do to mitigate the conflicts, or how can we help to mitigate the conflicts? Also need to talk about budgets, how much money we're going to need in each subcommittee to do the things that we need to be successful. And then, of course, what the next steps are for the committee. How are you going to get from A to Z? So going forward, I'd like an attempt to kind of put some of that information together so we have a pretty good vision in weeks and months to come on where we're heading with the initiative. So with that, we have first up is the Science Committee. And let me say again that all of our committees are just getting started now. So, you know, we're not looking for a lot of meat. I was to the Science Committee kickoff meeting there the other week, and there's a lot of people in there. And I think Brad is talking about having some subcommittees in the subcommittee, and the chairman of those subcommittees. And so anyway, there's a lot of organizational things that need to happen with that. If you care to add anything to that, Brad?
No, I mean, our first thing is, as you said, with 20 people on the committee trying to manage that is tough. But we'll get there. And it's fortunate that I know the vast majority of people pretty well. There's
That's
strong
what committee?
personalities on there, and I think
The Science Committee.
Okay.
I think we'll have I'm really happy the way the first meeting went. People are committed to work collaboratively and allow me as chair. I'm trying to act more of a facilitator than anything, just to keep the ball rolling, you know. And I think we'll be in good shape. Our folks are ready to hit the ground running as soon as we get through this organizational stage. And so you guys know the first thing we're doing is collecting all the data, studies, reports that have existed on this lake forever. You know, we have an awful lot of them. People will cite them all the time, but I don't think we've ever had one place where we have all of the information. The other thing we're doing is trying to get all the data that is non-specific to Higgins Lake to deal with water quality, from wastewater systems to other things that influence the health of the lake, and try to look at those in addition. And then once we have all that, we'll see if we need any other scientific studies or evaluations to look at. And we went back and talk if we get all that. And we are very fortunate that we have Dr. Luton, who has done
Years of studies on Higgins Lake is acting as an advisor for our committee, so anytime we are consultants, anytime we have questions, we can reach out to him. As well as Dr. Rose from MSU and her staff are opened themselves up to help us. So we have a lot of support.
Isn't Dr. Luton supposed to be coming here to Higgins?
He does an annual Health at Higgins Lake report. I have the
July 8th, 5 o'clock.
at the Relton.
Yes.
Yes.
That's at the ring.
Yep. He does it, he's done it for several years. It's a nice presentation and talks about what he's learned from year to year.
Yeah, I plan to attend. Yeah, I'm anxious to meet him, actually.
Do they record that?
July 8th?
Yes.
They have in the past. I got my RSVP back today. I do not know. They didn't have any indication.
On the Higgins Lake Foundation website, I do think there are some past presentations if you want to.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, the notification in the newspaper gave a telephone number for the Higgins Lake Foundation to call and request a reservation.
Can I ask a question? Or is it not time for this? A question about the science
Go
committee.
ahead.
So you have all of the research that is a big job of trying to coalesce it and things. Is one of the steps also to analyze whether it's a robust study or not, whether it's
Yeah, that's
scientific?
the next step once we
Okay.
get involved. That's gonna be, we've had people for years doing their own analysis of all these studies, but we need to first collect it all, evaluate it all, ultimately evaluate it all, report our findings.
So we want to put the weight on the ones that have scientific merit.
Yeah,
Thank you.
we have, besides, we have multiple PhDs on the committee, so we have some good people who know how to evaluate.
Great. Thank you.
We also have, is there any other discussion on science right now? We good?
No.
I have meeting minutes from the communications and data. And again, we just approved the logo and the press release. So and as time goes on, we're going to have more communications, hoping to get the our neighbors involved, the community involved, some of the local businesses that have been making a lot of money off of selling boats and other instruments and vehicles that use the lake. So I think we're going to want to work together as a team, not only here on the steering committee and in the subcommittees, but we may be going around and asking for donations. Ed and I briefly talked about this earlier today. I hope I'm not stealing any thunder.
Not at all, not at all. I mean, the one thing that has been brought to my attention that I wasn't aware of is for organizations such as this, nonprofits, however we fit into that a majority of the funding is not necessarily from grants, it's mostly from individuals. So we need to figure out ways that we can facilitate individuals donating to us. And one of the ideas that we've had is to have a donate button on the Health at Higgins Lake website. So the other thing that the finance committee talked about is not only do we need a budget from all of the different subcommittees, but a budget will give everybody a target. People don't want to give money if you can't tell them what you're going to do. So we need to make a message of what we're going to do clear. That's one of the things that the finance subcommittee is looking for, is that everybody You know, it doesn't have to be an onerous thing, it doesn't have to be extremely specific, but you gotta have at least a target for that which we're gonna do. And, you know, and do that. And that'll help the finance committee when we're going out and asking people for money. Say, here, this is what we do. So, that's my 2 cents.
Money well spent. Moving forward, well, you know, we hit on communications and financing. Let's see, what else is on our agenda here?
Can I say more about?
Say again?
I add some stuff,
Oh, sure.
so. We are collecting email, trying to get a distribution list that was broad and includes everybody. Eventually we'll do a direct mail, but only have, we want to back check, so we're not doing people that already have their emails from. I don't know if you're gonna talk about Facebook later. That's probably a bigger discussion. The website's in process, you have the domain, hoh-lake.org. We have plans to put out yard signs. We want approval from the board to have what we're gonna call meet your neighbors and your volunteers. On a Saturday afternoon. Probably give out ice cream sandwiches or something and have everybody that volunteered and. The community to come together and meet the people that are on this committee. All of the committee, all 40 of us, hopefully. And then we're also reaching out at this point to any associations. I gave a presentation at the Sheridan Drive Association, Sheridan Trail Association already this last weekend. We're reaching out to other organizations and associations and whatever to see if we can come and just talk to them about what we're doing, what our goals are, and we're looking for help, looking for emails.
Which associations are you? I mean, the associations around the lake?
Yeah, like nice,
Neighborhood association.
yeah, any neighborhood association that has a name.
Do you have all the associations and their contacts?
No, we're trying to collect them. So if you know or have that, that would be. But yeah, that's part of what we're gonna try to do. Try to get up into the camps. You know, I talked to the boat club already, see if we can get to the boat club. And any group that gets together that has a group, we're offering, come and talk to them.
Okay.
That's great.
Well, that group needs to be made part of our groups, made part of our database then. So everybody can access or have access to the,
I'm not sure about the database part.
well, into our depository where we're gonna,
Oh, yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
I asked Jack offline to, because he's intimately familiar with the lake, with the area, knowing his background, and thought he would be able to help with identifying all the associations and the people that are running those organizations, however they do it. So I thought he could help in that area somehow.
I have a question about comms, relates to the reports that are coming in, and I'm not sure which ones are, I know things can be FOIA'd, et cetera, but some of the use of acronyms already is happening. And I know that as a John Q. Public, Jane Q. Public, it might be hard for them to understand some of these references. And I'm wondering if we can ask our subcommittees to like write the full name of whatever they're talking about and then use the acronym.
Yeah.
In each of their reports, because like there was one that came up in septic committee that I was reading, CMDHD.
Andrew, but she can.
Health, yeah.
Right?
Sorry.
No, I'm just saying, I sat in meetings at NOAA and they talked in code and it took me almost a full 3 years to understand. And if we are trying to be transparent to the person sitting in their living room, it would be a great policy moving forward for all of us to say the full name, then the acronym, then use it however you want and do it with every document because it'll be just that much more clear,
I think there's a perception too from some of the public that you're trying to hide stuff from them with that.
And also somebody who's sincerely interested. I mean, I was sincerely interested when I moved here, and the whole step system that came up and everything. And I'm trying to ascertain where, get the finger on the pulse. And there were so many I only had so much bandwidth in my life to try and delve
Yeah.
down into this. And so I'm just saying maybe we can make that something we do.
Great idea.
I mean, I could have looked it up. I could have Googled, but
Speaking of subcommittee, oddly enough, their meeting is tomorrow and I only have their agenda. So really not too much to report on the subcommittee other than, I've been having a lot of conversations with Jim Oslink and,
for septic,
pardon?
for septic. What
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, septic. So another good meeting that's going to happen tomorrow. And as far as the road end, I just recently learned that it's road end / fertilizer. Thanks to Pat pointing that out. They had a meeting early on June 5th, and they held it at the Cut River. What a great idea. We should have this meeting at the Cut River. You know?
The subcommittees. These students in my basement.
And their report is pretty short. They assigned the road ends and who's going to look at which road ends and so things of that nature. There's really not a lot of meat on this one either, and it's kind of what to be expected. We're just getting going, and like I said earlier, we're trying to feel out our way down the road, and once we get going, I think things will be a little bit easier. Are there any additional comments that anyone has to offer at this time? Yes, June.
You and I were emailing this morning about communication and your ed.
Yes.
Yes. And so having a shared file, a folder for reports, because it gets a little bit much to have all of the emails coming in. And so you have,
Absolutely. So let me fill you in a little bit.
please,
We're planning.
you want to move up here so they can hear you?
Sure. What we're planning on doing is setting up a repository in what's called a Nextcloud. And we'll be able to set security. We don't really want to use Google Drive because as you've already pointed out, there are going to have to be evaluations of different studies, whether they're good, bad. And for us to leave stuff out in the open on Google Drive just doesn't make sense because it will allow people who are trying to thwart these operations. You'll be organizing their disinformation for them. And that's not what any of us are here for. So the plan is to have to at first set up a system whereby the chairs of each subcommittee will be able to put things into that repository. And as the science subcommittee gets more organized, they have subcommittees of the subcommittees and we'll have, but we don't want all 40 people to be, otherwise it'll be a free-for-all. So
Right.
we're trying to organize this. This is in conjunction with the same hosting service that Sue is using for the website. So we'll be able to share documents. We'll be able to do things of that nature. So that's the intent there. Nextcloud is a fairly robust open source piece of software. And I am pleased. I'm still learning it myself, but I'm pleased with what we're doing. I've been a software developer for over 40 years. I did HP technical sales and consulting, so I know my way around IT. I'm not an IT professional, so to speak, but I'm cracking the whip for IT professionals, trying to get them to do what I need. So I have a very good feel for what we need and what we're looking for. And actually, Brad, somebody on his subcommittee reached out to me and has some really good ideas for organizing metadata and some collaboration. The important part about this is there'll be encryption end to end on things. And I can't stress enough how important it is for us to not leave things unprotected. It won't end up happy for us. So, any other questions?
Just to follow up to that. In entering the files onto the server, is there going to be any kind of a standardized nomenclature, a way of naming those files so that when people are trying to find what they're looking for a year down the line, 2 years down the line, between subcommittees, there's some way of searching that makes sense?
So
Expedites it.
that's what we're talking about in terms of metadata and allowing people to take and describe and be able to do searches on the descriptions or whatever
Okay.
other pertinent information. So
That's part of the conversation.
yes, yeah, it is. So.
Rather have that question now than like
Oh,
7
no,
months
yeah,
from
that would
now.
have been a great idea had
Yeah.
we done it.
Not
Yeah,
all a tangle of data points. Yeah.
yeah, no, for sure. For
Thank
sure.
you.
You're welcome.
Okay, if there aren't any other comments or questions,
But one more.
okay.
Are we going to be able to have this meeting via Zoom at all? Like I can't come next month because I'm teaching up until 6 o'clock at Wayne State.
Okay.
So I don't know if there's a
We have,
ability to zoom in. Okay, I know that it's out there. I just don't know if I can log. Okay. Okay, I can't vote off Zoom. Okay. Thank you.
yes, sir.
Just before you adjourn, I'm just gonna, you mentioned the subject committee, just for your information, you know, the planning commission is looking at a 7-foot, right? So,
Who's looking for us?
yeah, the planning commission.
Oh, the planning commission. That's interesting.
The Gerrish Planning Commission.
Yes,
I think that's why Jim stayed on it, right? Because he was already well down the road of,
right.
Developing
He's the
this.
liaison that,
yeah.
well, Jim Anderson is the liaison, but he's come with me to speak about that. So,
Some years ago.
yeah. He has been coming, planning commission, the issuance subject.
Does that involve the point of sale or transfer of title?
Some of the-
Discussions.
Well, I'm on the planning commission, so yes, some of the ones we're reviewing have that, but I believe, I don't want to get too far in front of this, but I think we're looking at one that would include some inspections of get-go, not just a plain sale.
There was a document somewhere today when I was reading over all of this about point of sale versus a different approach.
Right.
You'll never get caught up at point of sale. You'll be years behind.
Especially around here, right?
Yeah.
It stays in families.
And that's it. A lot of it's legacy, so they're not going to sell.
But just, I just wanted you guys to be aware.
Thank you.
Good, thank you for pointing that out. Anything else? Yes, Sue? Oh, yes,
Please do.
okay.
I want to talk about this.
I'm
I was-
sorry, I don't know who you are.
I'm sorry, I'm Sue Gelderbloom.
Okay.
I purchased up here in, I don't know, 2000. So I've been here about 25 years. Retired, moved up here. About 5 years ago, built a new house. My background is engineering, bachelor's, master's in mechanical, PhD in chemical. Worked for the Dows.
Oh, good.
Okay. So, and now I'm doing.
Familiar, but I
Oh, yeah. So in what I did at Dow was pretty computer intensive, so I feel pretty comfortable in front of a keyboard. I was also very involved with the defunct sewer effort. And one of the major things that I think was torpedoes for that was, other than poor communication, was Facebook. And I know that there has already been some less than kind things said on Facebook about us, and we're not even, haven't even done anything yet. So what I would like to propose, and I had mentioned to Stan, is that I would like somewhere in the budget to have money for, I'm not sure yet what, but the possibilities would be an attorney that might be able to send us a strongly worded letter to cease and desist, or there'll be liable suits sort of thing. Also, maybe perhaps if we could find a PR person that knew how to deal with misinformation on Facebook as well. So I would like that to be, that is our biggest, you talk about risks or blocks. And I think the misinformation that might get out there, or the misinterpretation, and some of the personal attacks need to be nipped early and strong. So I would like, at some point, I will come back with an actual number or whatever of what exactly we want, but I wanted that to be a heads up for all of you. Questions?
Can you make public who these people are?
Yeah, I mean, one of the persons is, he calls himself Higgins Lake Watchdog.
I mean, do these people have real names?
We could probably figure out who the real name is. I don't know who it is right now, but you can also report them on Facebook for, I mean, they have a code of ethics, a standard.
I don't have Facebook.
Well, you're a smart man.
I don't do that.
Yes, we have a Facebook page already, Health of Higgins Lake. And we will put out the same stuff that's going to be on the website, which will be the approved minutes of this board. Is what will be out there, and the website will have links to all of the data that they can read the reports themselves. So, yeah. But it was just disheartening that right out of the box, before we've even done anything, people are attacking.
Meets a need in certain people's lives that.
I'm sorry?
It meets a need in some people's lives to
It
be
does,
this
but-
aggressive and hidden.
And we did, before we decided as a group to take the high road and just put out good, positive information as much as we could.
Mhm.
And that's not enough.
Right, right. No, it's good to be protective. Yeah, defend.
Okay, so I just,
Thank you.
I'm really sad to hear this. I think you mentioned it before. But now it's kind of soaking in. So, okay, and you say you're going to try to put together some kind of a budget for this?
we'll come back with some kind of a budget. It could be a tiered budget as well. Like, first step is going to be, we want to send letters from attorneys. Or the second one, or maybe with the first one, we'll have to talk as a committee, might be, getting a consultant that knows how to deal with this. Because other than reporting them to Facebook and sending letters, I don't.
Yep.
I don't know.
and there might be a lot we can't do.
there's freedom of speech, and I don't have a problem with someone having a different opinion, but I don't think you can personally attack or defame them. I think there's certain,
There's a lot of vitriol.
Agrees, do we get it, we can get, politics is a whole different thing. But I will say this to you, it's like 5 people total. If you read the names of who it is, and you can figure out who is calling themselves by their name or whatever.
And they say, my people. Well, how many are my people? 3. Yeah,
But 5 that participate. So I'm.
but they make a lot of noise.
Make you guys feel a little better in realizing that not.
oh, it's not the majority.
Right.
Yeah, it is not the majority.
No, it is not.
And perhaps maybe when we probably already have those 5 identified, but perhaps maybe just a strongly worded letter from an attorney saying that, you can't, we appreciate your difference of opinion. You're certainly entitled to your opinion, but you can't attack individuals.
Agree.
We'll see what they say. We'll see what that's what legal advisors are for.
This is real, and it points out the need for heightened security, and why we can't just put stuff out on an open.
Absolutely. Yeah.
There is a Facebook page already, Health of Higgins Lake.
Yes, it should be. Doesn't have a logo on it yet. You guys just approved it.
So does this mean
Well, I just read Facebook. I don't add to it.
does this mean I have to get a Facebook thing?
I already.
Good. Good.
I'm a software developer, I resist it. I refuse to get on Facebook.
Yeah, never got into that. Actually, I hate politics for this very reason. You know,
You're at the front of the rail.
I know. How did I get here? Right? Everybody was meant to be here. Okay, if there's nothing else, I'd like to adjourn this meeting. Do we have to get a second for that?
Motion.
Or we
I'll second it. Go ahead.
Okay. Motion. Everybody say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. All right. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Appreciate it.